O sleeper. Awake, O sleeper. He's coming. He's coming, he's alive. Jesus of Nazareth, the son of David, the slain lamb. He was born to be a king.
1 Corinthians chapter 12. We'll begin in verse 1. Again, getting in the miracle flow, releasing miracle signs and wonders. Part 1, activating and flowing properly. That's the point we want to make, flowing properly in the gifts of the Spirit. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we're accurate in the way that we communicate Jesus Christ. He says, I show you a more excellent way. And when we get to chapter 13, he's going to break down this more excellent way. No matter what I do with my gifts, no matter how well I teach, no matter how awesome of a leader I could be, as charismatic and more charismatic than Barack Obama. Really, it doesn't matter if I don't get the more excellent way when it comes to the body of Christ. But he says, though I speak with tongues of men and angels and have not charity. This charity is love in action, basically. In the simplest of terms, it means love in action. Can you read that first verse in the Amplified?
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13, verse 1.
If I can speak in the tongues of men and even of angels, but have not love, that reasoning, intentional, spiritual devotion, such as inspired by God's love for and in us, I am only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal.
Now, a lot of times you'll notice people say that I'm a Christian, and they expect you to know that because of how they dress, or what they do and don't do, where they go and don't go. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't curse, I don't lie, I don't steal. None of that really should be commended, honestly. Really, how you know or should be able, you judge fruit. The Bible says you should know them by their fruit. You can tell someone in their relationship with God by how they love other people, by how they love other people. We fasted 21 days and was staying up late and just praying and wanting to just get in the presence of God, because I prayed. I said, God, I want to see people the way you see people. I want to see them. I don't want to see them through my eyes. I want to see them through your eyes. And that's a nice prayer, I think, not to pat myself on the back. But when I came out of just like shutting in, it's a big responsibility, because there's times where I'll see somebody and just get heavy and almost weep, because I feel this love for them. I don't even know who they are. And I just feel this love for them because I see like how much they're worth to Jesus Christ. Like literally when God said, for God so loved the world that he gave. And the crux of that whole text is that he gave his only begotten son, like literally gave his life for the whole world. So, whoever it is, I don't care if it's a Klansman and he hates me because of the color of my skin. When I literally see him, I don't feel offended. To me, he's the victim, not me. And there's a hurt that I feel, because I'm like, man, God has so much for him. He loves him so much. There's a song I heard, it talks about desperation. His love is so desperate. God is literally desperately in love with mankind. And the weight of that love, I was like a little bit like, man, I don't know if I should have prayed that. Because when I came out of his presence, and the weight that you feel, I understand. I don't know what it is, because I'm not Jesus Christ. I don't know what it is to get on a cross and go through that. But I understand for him to do that, like he had to desperately have this love for people. And a lot of times we see somebody in a situation, whether they brought it on themselves or not, living a lifestyle that's adverse to what I think, and we want to write them off or cut them off from God, as if he's disturbed by what they're doing. And that's just us. I'm disturbed, but my thoughts are my thoughts. We want to have the mind of Christ. And the mind of Christ, I don't care who it is, what person it is, that I come across what they're involved in and doing for God so loved the world that he gave. And he's desperately in love with that person. He desperately wants to reach that person. The question is, who can he use? If I'm so hung up on my own opinions and my own thoughts, I'm so thrown off because this guy has a rebel flag on his truck and he's a racist. And I'm so thrown off that by how he feels about me, that I can't even communicate love to him. But Jesus Christ was accused, innocent, he said absolutely nothing, and just went on the cross. And before he gave up the ghost, he says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so when I take on the personality of Christ, this person doesn't know what he's doing when he hates me, when he calls me out of my name, when this individual says something to you, a male calls you a B-word. And not saying that you should accept that behavior, but to first understand this person does not know what they're doing. They're blinded by all the cares of this world, or whatever their situation was growing up. Have any of y'all ever seen that movie, Miracle at, what is that? The Spike Lee movie? Yeah, you seen that?
Seen some of it.
Did you see the part where the little boy is in the restaurant and the black man came in and his father called him out his name?
Yeah.
And the little boy was just scared. And his father, when they left, he told the little boy, this is how you treat black people. When I was watching, the Lord dealt with me, and he was like, do you see that little boy? He's a victim, more so than they were. Because they're grown men. He's a little boy. His father gave him this. So now when he grows up being taught this from a child, and I come in contact with him, and he's only expressing what his father gave him. He didn't have a choice. So he's a victim. So there's people in the world that are victims in so many different areas where they're given errant thoughts. They're given a perception. Like I tell my child that this A is actually, the letter A is actually B. And I'm telling her that when she goes to kindergarten, she's in for a rude awakening. Because her teacher said, no, babe, that's a letter A. No, it's not. In her mind, it is not, because of what I gave her. And so a lot of people have been victimized by error in generational error, whether they're black, white, whatever. Just what they've been given and almost have no choice. And so these goggles have been placed on them. They view the world that way. But when I see them as victims of the enemy. The enemy has done this. There's a parable that talks about God sowing seed, and when the seed comes up, this tear that comes up with it, and they're like, well, where did that come from? You planted good seed. He said, the enemy did this. And so when someone has hate in them, I don't get angry at them, because the enemy planted that in them. Something happened where the devil snuck in and planted. Maybe they was abused as a child. You know, there's a young lady I see who's on a pole. I want to call her a hoe. I want to call her this. But maybe her father abandoned her when she was young. You know, or maybe he called her mother out her name. I don't know. Where the enemy came and planted that seed where she gives herself now to many different men. But human nature, we want to, oh, she's this, she's that. And we want to cut her off from God because of her behavior, not understanding that somewhere the enemy planted this seed in her to where she believes that this is how she should be, how she should carry herself. And so he says, in all of this, if I don't have love, and we want to get the reality of love, what love is, because this is where the subject is getting in the miracle flow. This is really where miracles flow. Wherever love is present, real love is present, that means we give over ourselves, our opinions, to just allow God to flow. And when he flows, he works miracles. He heals people. Healing is an expression of love. So wherever love is really present, true love is present, miracles can flow.